You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what He actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday, happy Venus Day, and welcome to the last live stream of 2022. We're going to talk about today's energy, and then I'll walk you through Saturday and Sunday. So I'd love to hear what your plans are for New Year's Eve, if you have any, and if you have any questions about what the energy is going to look like. We have a really powerful transit playing out as we ring in the new year. As the ball drops in New York City, we have a conjunction between Venus and Pluto. So we'll get into that. We have a couple other major transits that are really lighting the path ahead and also helping us reflect on the year that has passed. So we're going to get through all of that. First, though, we can't let the end of December Capricorns be overlooked. I know if your birthday is the week between Christmas and New Year's, you probably feel like you get lost in the shuffle a little bit. So with that in mind, today's notable birthdays include LeBron James. Not that he's really getting lost in the shuffle, let's be honest. Same with Tiger Woods, Carson Wentz, lots of athletes right around this time. Ellie Goulding as well, Sean Hannity, Eliza Dushku, I recognize her face, not her name, Patti Smith, Matt Lauer. Wow, December 30th. A lot of powerful people were born December 30th. And the last day of the year brings birthdays for Val Kilmer, Anthony Hopkins, Donald Trump Jr., John Denver. All right, Ben Kingsley, Donna Summer, Nicholas Sparks. I keep thinking the list of notable, really notable people will end, and then they just keep coming. Diane von Furstenberg. Wow, Gabby Douglas. Every time I go to click off of this, there's another one. And then our January 1st Capricorns, who are they? All of a sudden, it's just a drop off. Oh, I recognize this guy, Vern Troyer. I don't know if I said his name right. Anyway, J.D. Salinger, Edgar Hoover. I'm just butchering all these names. The point being, if your birthday falls this week, if you're a Capricorn, if you know someone celebrating a birthday, let us know in the comments so we can celebrate them too. We don't want them to get lost in the buzz of the holidays, right? Hi, Nick. Hey, Rose. Hello, beautiful Jackie. She says, I'm convinced that Capricorns and Virgos make the world go round. We couldn't exist without them, I swear. So I feel like this plays into the power behind these signs. Yes, a lot of powerful Capricorns in the world, the leaders of the world in many ways. All right, let's get a current check on the energy as well. Oh, this is what Rose is doing for New Year's. Her husband's family puts together traditional Japanese New Year's Eve and day dishes. Each dish has a significance. How cool. Like one is for fertility. The emoji. There's a specific mochi soup that we have after 12 a.m. That is such a cool way to ring in the new year, and so perfect because the moon will be in Taurus. And what is more moon in Taurus energy than comfort food, like soup and traditional foods as well? I love that. So currently, of course, the sun is in Capricorn. The moon is still in Aries today. And that's really what we're going to be talking about for the Friday forecast is the Aries moon. But the moon will move into Taurus over the weekend, and we'll have a few major transits playing out on Saturday and Sunday. So if you are finding this video later, I'll go ahead and add markers to the timeline so you can jump to whichever day you're looking for guidance about, whichever transit you're curious about. I know sometimes that makes it easier if you find the forecast on Saturday or Sunday. But let's start with Friday. The moon is in Aries, still feeling that first quarter moon energy. I know a lot of the reflection that came through the chat yesterday was like this contrast between the stillness, the slowness of winter, of Capricorn season, and this urge to kind of speed up or do something or go with the first quarter moon in the very movement and action-packed sign of Aries. So if you're feeling that contrast, if you're feeling that kind of push-pull between these two energies, you're not alone. The first quarter moon is when we have a square between the moon and the sun. So there is a little bit of tension that plays out during the first quarter moon. But I love the first quarter moon because it's a reminder that squares can be very activating. It's not just about tension or friction. The first quarter moon, when we feel that tension, it gives us a push to really get going and make a move. So plenty of motivation to work with under the first quarter moon. Definitely this first quarter moon in Aries too. Wow, Rose says we made all the mochi for New Year's the day after Christmas. It takes at least 6 to 8 hours to make 8 large batches for everyone in the family. That is dedication. There's so much intention infused into your New Year's meal. How cool. Infusing intention into food is something I haven't tapped into as much as I would like to, but it's so powerful, so powerful. We're literally ingesting energy, right? And setting our intention into that energy. It's like why people pray before dinner, say grace, things like that. Okay, so what's going on with the Aries moon today? Well, it's actually a fairly quiet day astrologically because the moon hasn't made any connections all day so far. This first quarter moon, yes, there's motivation to work with, but it's not connecting with any planets until 7 p.m. Pacific time, so 10 p.m. Eastern time, which, you might have felt a slower start to the day. But at 7 p.m., the moon will connect with Saturn. The moon will form a sextile to Saturn. So you can see the moon in Aries right now at this moment at 19 degrees. Saturn is now at 22 degrees in Aquarius. So the two will connect in this nice sextile this evening. With the moon in Aries and Saturn and Aquarius, they're supporting each other. But I think when we look at the energies of these two planets in these two signs, I see this being a really easy time to tap into maturity, to tap into leadership, to like literally step up and maybe take control, but also just take the lead in some way. Maturity is easy to come by this evening. So as the day goes on, there's almost this sense of duty and responsibility that we are leaning into. It's what happens late tonight that could ruffle a few feathers. So the moon will square Mercury retrograde at 10 p.m. Pacific time, 1 a.m. Eastern time, which means late Friday night, the week is ending on a tense note. We just talked about squares, right? How they bring tension, they bring friction, they can also bring activation. But in this case, because the moon is squaring Mercury retrograde, I see this as this need to communicate, maybe even being overly spontaneous, impulsive in our communication. Miscommunication is definitely possible late tonight. Agitation, irritation, the moon in Aries can kind of make us a little bit more irritable and agitated, a little quicker to anger, especially a first quarter moon. There's just, again, this urge to act on how we're feeling. Beware of blurting things out. And also when the moon squares Mercury, especially during a Mercury retrograde, mood swings are possible. So being mindful of that too, not letting your mood go from one extreme to another, or just noticing when that's happening and not taking it out on other people. Remember, we talked about this yesterday as we went through Mercury retrograde and what that's bringing. With Mercury and Capricorn, being very mindful about how we're communicating, the tone we're using is going to be is going to be helpful. So just keep that in mind. Tech issues, travel delays are also possible, not just because it's Mercury retrograde, but specifically when the moon squares Mercury. If you have any travel plans to get out of town before the holidays or before New Year's, I should say, give yourself extra time, pack your patience. Issues are bound to happen in some sense tonight. So go into the evening thinking like, I can flow with whatever comes my way. The more rigid and impulsive and reactive we are, obviously things probably won't go very well. So just knowing that that could be a possibility for you tonight. Oh, Jackie says that something that is so powerful to us Native Americans is believing in the transfer of energy into our food. Most Native men or women will not eat food from a person who has been angry or in a bad mood. Ooh, I didn't know that. That's really cool. That is super cool. And I love how we're talking about this with, you know, tapping into the energy of the Taurus moon right around New Year's. When the moon's in Taurus, I always feel like there's this urge for comfort food, but this is a reminder that if you want to do a ritual around New Year's, it doesn't have to be something super woo-woo or lighting a candle or working with a crystal or anything like that. It could simply be just like making an intentional meal and, you know, infusing the energy you want to call in the new year into that meal, whether speaking over it or, you know, envisioning the energy going into it and eating it. And there you go. You're aligning with the energy you want to call in. Everyday activities can be rituals if you are intentional about them, right? Yeah, just go with the flow, says Nick, his catchphrase. I love it. Gemini sun, Leo rising, Taurus moon, 2-4 emotional man, Jen, being hit with an energy of mood swings. I'm scared of myself at this point now. I'm going to have to stay inside. But remember, the transits don't control us. It's just a beautiful awareness that we have. So, you know, you have the coping tools. If you notice yourself getting irritable or reactive tonight, you know what to do. But also, if you know that energy is there, you can make a choice. Like, I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to let this kind of like roll off of me right now and not let it get stuck to me and not let it agitate me, right? I think tonight will be a life book and chill kind of night. Yes, I love that. And with the moon squaring Mercury retrograde, the moon in Aries makes us want to do something. Mercury is the planet of communication, thought, speech, writing. So I love the idea of like doing a reflective exercise, channeling the agitation or the need to do something into writing, into journaling, into reflecting on the past year in your life book or in your journal. That seems like a really great outlet for tonight's energy. Nick says he's normally rewatches The Time Machine from 1960 on New Year's Eve. That sounds fun. Fun little ritual that you do. Okay, so that's Friday. That's it. Just a little agitation to watch out for late tonight, but we don't have any major planetary connections playing out. Things really start to pick up tomorrow on Saturday. So let's get into Saturday and talk about what's coming our way. On Saturday afternoon, 2:11 p.m. Pacific time, so right after 5 p.m. Eastern time, the sun forms a trine to the north node and at the same time forms a sextile to the south node. These are both supportive angles, and I love this on the last day of 2022 as we're thinking about the year ahead, because the sun and the north node harmonizing. Remember, the north node represents our purpose, our direction, the path we're meant to walk, the lessons we're here to learn, the energy we're here to embody. And the sun is our luminary. It illuminates things. This balanced angle between the two, I think you'll be able to see it here. Maybe sun, north node, kind of. It doesn't want to show the connection, but you get the idea. At 10 degrees, the Capricorn sun and the Taurus north node will connect. Of course, the Scorpio south node too. During this time, it feels like the sun is illuminating the path ahead. It's illuminating our direction. And what a beautiful energy to step into and to embody as we are thinking about the year ahead, literally thinking about the path ahead. With the sun and with the north node in both grounded signs, it feels like we can be confident about the direction we're going in this moment and almost vision every step we're going to take in the year ahead. Now, that's not to say you need to be a perfectionist and have it all figured out. That's not what I'm saying at all. But with the sun in Capricorn, we like to have a plan. We like to know where we're going. We like to know what journey we're on, right? And the sun in Capricorn harmonizing with the North Node in Taurus feels like this very practical, lighting the path ahead, lighting the way that we're going. It's also easier to see the person we're becoming as this trine plays out. So planning the future seems like it will come very naturally on Saturday. And you might not even really realize it's happening because a trine is this balanced angle. It represents ease and flow. So, it just might be like naturally ideas are coming through, or you're doing things or planning things for the new year. And the year ahead starts to shape up. The path ahead starts to shape up. It might not be the full year. It might just be the next couple weeks, but that's okay. That's all we need to worry about right now is the next step we're taking. But it really feels like the next step will be illuminated on New Year's Eve. So some questions you might want to ask yourself if you're really feeling this energy and wanting to lean into it is, how can you reach your goals? What is the next step I want to take? What direction do I want to go? Sometimes it might just be as simple as getting a little clearer on the direction you want to head, and then the steps to get there could be illuminated or unfold very naturally under this aspect. So it feels like a visioning, a mapping out of the journey ahead, and it feels like it should be fairly easy to do that under that aspect. But it's this conjunction that's really going to steal the show on New Year's Eve. We have a conjunction between Venus and Pluto. This is happening right before 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. So you know what that means, right after midnight, 12:24 a.m. on New Year's Day in the Eastern time zone. And, I know most of the time we just talk about Pacific time zone, or a lot of the forecast is based on the Pacific time zone, but I think it's really cool that this is happening right after midnight in New York City, because maybe this is just in my American brain through an American lens, but I feel like New York City is like quintessential New Year's Eve, the ball drop, Times Square. So wherever you live, you'll be feeling this conjunction between Venus and Pluto. That's for sure. We feel a conjunction within an 8-degree orb. So we've already been feeling this, to be honest with you. And I think that's probably why a lot of us have been experiencing quite a bit of intensity in our interpersonal relationships, especially those one-on-one relationships that are highlighted by Venus, maybe even some transformation of relationships, some breakups, some rebirths, some letting go, some beginnings. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. So as the ball drops, as we ring in the new year, we're feeling this conjunction. How could that show up for us? Well, it's going to be intense. Intense can mean a million different things, right? Venus is the planet of love, money, and beauty. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. These energies are blended during a conjunction. And I could see midnight being a time of a lot of proposals. Of course, it normally is, right? But especially with Venus and Pluto in Capricorn, the sign of long-term goals, the sign of stability and commitment, I could see this being like a make or break. Like you might find someone and kiss them at midnight and fall in love, and it's going to stand the test of time because it's Venus conjunct Pluto and it's this super intense moment. Could be that someone proposes. It could be that you break up right now and there's a death to a relationship. We're really craving deep connection during this conjunction between Venus and Pluto. So with that in mind, beware of manipulation or control tactics. Pluto, the dark side of Pluto, the very dark side of Pluto is manipulation and control. So an obsession. So there could be this urge to like obsess over who am I going to kiss at midnight, or where is this relationship going as we head into 2023. I've got to have it all figured out by midnight. By the new year, I got to know where this relationship is going, right? So there could be this urge to obsess and have the answers and nail someone down and commit. We know that that's probably not the best course of action. We don't want to give anybody an ultimatum. This energy feels like ultimatum energy. Capricorn vibes are very black and white thinking. And with Venus conjunct Pluto, it's like excuse my language, but it's like shit or get off the pot. You know, it's like, are you in or are you out kind of vibe. So there could be a transformation, there could be a renewed commitment or a newfound commitment, or there could be an exodus. Now, this might not show up in relationships. It could show up in finances or money for you as well. There could be an exodus of money, or there could be an influx of money. Pluto is death and rebirth. So depending on where you're at in your journey, you could experience this as more the death side of Pluto or more the rebirth side of Pluto. But whatever is going on right around midnight, it feels like there's closure in some sense. In love, money, beauty, there's some sort of closure coming with Venus forming a conjunction to Pluto. To put this in the most simple terms, the shadow of this transit is forcing closure, forcing people to make decisions, forcing commitment, giving ultimatums. But the light side of this transit is surrendering to the transformation, being open to new beginnings, and also being open to the endings that are presenting themselves right now. Our dark side and our need to be loved and our need to nail people down are kind of enmeshed during this New Year's countdown. So we don't want to let our subconscious take the wheel. It might even be that you find yourself, you're out on New Year's Eve and you're thinking like, I'm fine, I'm going with the flow. And as you're watching the clock tick down, you're like, oh my God, everybody else is with somebody. I need to be with somebody. I need to have someone to kiss at midnight, you know? So notice the stories you're telling yourself about relationships, about money, about where you think you should be or should have been by the end of 2022. Our shadows can come to light during this conjunction if we're willing to observe them. It could be, you know, that you're trying to manipulate or control different aspects of your life, and Pluto wants us to surrender. Pluto wants us to surrender to the death and rebirth process. That's really all we can do, right? Yeah, so whatever is happening for you on New Year's Eve, it's bound to bring some intensity. We can always count on Pluto to bring the intensity. It makes me, maybe it's my Scorpio moon, but this transit gets me a little excited about the possibility of like, what could happen during this Venus-Pluto conjunction? The last time we had a Venus-Pluto conjunction, actually, this might be helpful. Let me look this up. 1 second, bear with me here, because, you know, sometimes it's helpful to look back at, you know, history, and maybe you're revisiting something that happened during the last Venus-Pluto conjunction or a theme that came up because it would have been in Capricorn. I'm pretty sure it was at the very beginning of 2022. Let's see. Yes, March 3rd, 2022 was the last time we had a Venus-Pluto conjunction at the same degree of Capricorn. So what was happening in early March in your life? That could give you an indication of how this Venus-Pluto conjunction might show up for you. Maybe it's the closure from the beginning of the cycle that started at the beginning of 2022. And remember, there was that huge Venus retrograde at the beginning of the year. So last Christmas, December 25th, we also had a Venus-Pluto conjunction. So maybe it was something that started last holiday season that's now coming to completion or being released or being reborn during this Venus-Pluto conjunction. And this is the last time we'll see a Venus-Pluto conjunction. I believe it's the last time we'll see one in Capricorn for maybe our lifetime. You know what? I can tell you right now. Let me see. We'll just do... I'll tell you if there will be another one next year. Nope. New Year's Eve, the last Venus-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn in our lifetime. So it really does feel like closure in some sense. Remember, Pluto's going to move into Aquarius in March. We'll get to that later. We don't have to dive into that just now. But yeah, it feels like commitment. It feels like stepping up or stepping out. Let's talk about what's going on with the moon on New Year's Eve too, because these are the major themes we'll be experiencing, but we all know the moon is an indicator of how we'll probably feel on New Year's Eve. So overnight tonight, Friday night into Saturday morning, the moon is going to square that conjunction between Venus and Pluto. This happens between 2 and 4 a.m. Pacific time, so that would be like 5 and 7 a.m. Eastern time. Most of us will probably sleep through this, but you might find yourself waking up feeling especially needy or manipulative, or if you're up super late tonight, that could come into play. Notice how you feel if you're in an Eastern time zone first thing Saturday morning, if you wake up early, or if you end up burning the midnight oil on the Pacific time zone or the West Coast, how you feel late tonight. That's like a little mini preview as the moon is squaring that conjunction between Venus and Pluto about what emotions might come up right around midnight on New Year's Eve. Something else to consider is, where is 27 degrees of Capricorn in your birth chart? That's where Pluto's been hanging out for quite a long time. That's where Venus is transiting through. The end of Capricorn is going to get a lot of action this weekend. On Sunday, I believe, Venus will be at the anaretic degree of Capricorn. So like the end of Capricorn part of your chart is action-packed right now. Let's just say that. Noticing what house it's in, noticing if there are any other planets there can help you get some indicators on what this conjunction might bring for you. But how we're feeling, the very last transit of this first quarter moon in Aries will be overnight, and it'll be the square to Venus and Pluto, which just makes us feel needy, maybe a little bit more controlling than normal. Manipulative power struggles are possible in relationships late tonight, early Saturday morning, obsession. So witnessing your shadows, asking what they need, and the beautiful energy of the Venus-Pluto conjunction is releasing the shadows, releasing the darkness that no longer serves us, sending away anything that's not meant for us, and allowing that to be part of the renewal process and the rebirth process. Early March, I gave away a lot of backpacks, ammo belts, helmets, gas masks to the people of Ukraine. Oh, wow. I hope their war ends this year and they beat the Russians. Yeah, so for you, this probably showed up as like cleaning stuff out, getting rid of things that mean a lot to you. And that almost seems like it was a love language, like gifting things to people who need them more. Maybe that's what shows up for you this time around as well, an exodus of physical things, like getting rid of things and giving them to other people. So that's the last connection the first quarter moon in Aries will make. Then the moon is void until about 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern time on Saturday. That's when the moon moves into Taurus and becomes a waxing gibbous moon in Taurus. The moon won't make any other connections all day on Saturday. So really just grounding into that Taurus moon energy. Remember, the moon is exalted in Taurus, so the moon likes to be here. I imagine a lot of people will end up staying in on New Year's Eve rather than going out because of the Taurus moon. The Taurus moon likes to be in its comfort zone, or going out to somewhere familiar, going out and celebrating with people we feel comfortable with, eating comfort food, just like Rose was sharing that she does. So yeah, the waxing gibbous moon moving into Taurus on New Year's Eve feels like, oh, I just kind of last minute decided I want to stay in, you know. Venus conjunct Pluto right around midnight. If there are little earmuffs could be good right now, but I would say Venus conjunct Pluto is a very powerful transit for physical connection, for sexual connection. That might be how you bring in the new year, and that could be very intense and very pleasurable, and you could start 2023 with a bang, especially with the moon in sensual Taurus. We're really like delighting in our senses. We're emotionally nurtured by exploring our senses with the moon in Taurus. So this is all coming through as I'm talking right now. I'm like, that could be a really powerful way to bring in the new year. or just what we're feeling drawn to with the Venus-Pluto conjunction. But it's kind of nice that there aren't any major moon transits going on, because it really allows us to tap into the energy of the sun harmonizing with the North Node and Venus forming this conjunction to Pluto without any other emotional influence from the moon connecting with other planets. So take that as you will. Know the moon will be in Taurus. Might be a good idea to look at which part of your chart Taurus rules to see where the moon will be transiting during your New Year's Eve celebrations. If New Year's Eve is even important to you, it might just be another day for some people, and that's fine too. That's fine too. Rose says there will be lots of fireworks surrounding the whole house because almost all of the surrounding houses have aerial fireworks that go off leading up to midnight, and they constantly go off for 20 minutes after. That sounds really cool. A little bit like a fire hazard, but really cool. Luckily, it's very lush in Hawaii, so hopefully things don't catch fire very easily. But what an incredible place to spend New Year's. I said it before and I'm saying it again. I want to go to Rose's house for New Year's. I don't know if there's enough time for me to catch a flight to Hawaii, but I wish I was hanging with your family, Rose. Taurus in the 6th house with no planetary placements. So you might be thinking about your health, your wellness to ring in the new year. Nick? Okay. That's how we send out 2022, with a Venus-Pluto conjunction, literally with a bang. Such an intense transit. And it's really cool too, because Venus is all about our values, our sense of pleasure, our ability to attract things, to call things in. And with Venus conjunct Pluto, just with a Pluto conjunction in general, right as we're, turning the page on a new calendar, it feels like death and rebirth energy, the ending of one chapter, the beginning of another, right as we're starting a new year. Super cool. There are no coincidences in astrology, but this feels especially synchronistic. Then on Sunday, New Year's Day, this is the transit we are feeling. This isn't exact until late Sunday night, 10:44 p.m. Pacific time. So we probably won't start to really feel this, especially because it involves Mercury, and Mercury moves pretty quickly, until the second part of New Year's Day. But here's what it means. Here's what we'll be feeling. Mercury retrograde connecting with Neptune. This to me feels like nostalgia. On January 1st, it feels like looking back, Mercury retrograde reviewing, right? Looking back, and Neptune on the other end of this sextile brings this sweet energy, almost like looking back through rose-colored glasses, romanticizing 2022, like, oh, another year has gone by. What a beautiful experience. Maybe being a little delusional about how great 2022 was, now that the calendar is actually over, right? Now that the year is actually over. But it feels like we'll be looking back on the past year with a fondness, and with kind of this understanding as well of everything working out how it's supposed to. Like trusting that everything that happened in 2022 was supposed to happen, and like being like, okay, all right, I see that chapter. That was beautiful. All the ups and downs and ins and outs and highs and lows. It was all beautiful. So like I said, looking back on the year behind us with rose-colored glasses, romanticizing it, putting that finishing touch on the book of 2022 and like wrapping it up in a nice bow. Feels like this Mercury retrograde sextile Neptune. Now, on a more practical note, Mercury retrograde can cause communication issues. Neptune can cause confusion. So I would say this is not a day to make any major decisions. If you wanted to vision or dream or kind of like reflect on the year and dream about the year ahead, that sounds like it would be fine if you like really want to do that on New Year's Day. I know some people are really big on vision boarding on New Year's Day or doing some sort of ritual for the year ahead, but I wouldn't make any hard, fast decisions under this transit. And like I said, during the Mercury retrograde forecast, I wouldn't make any hard, fast decisions until Mercury stations direct on January 18th. We've got Mars retrograde too. There's a lot of confusion happening right now. So just allowing yourself to ease into the new energy, ease into the new year, be grateful for everything that transpired. Allow yourself to look at 2022 through rose-colored glasses. Make the little highlight reel that everybody's making about the year in review. You know, that definitely feels like what a lot of people will be doing on Sunday, on January 1st. Like, look at all these beautiful moments from my year. But also, as you're watching everybody else's beautifully curated year in review videos and photos, remember that those are just the highlights, that we all experienced hardship at some point in 2022. That's part of the human experience. And just because people are showing all the amazing places they traveled and the people they hung out with and the experiences they had and even the food they ate and all that stuff doesn't mean that that was their only experience of 2022. So it could be easy to kind of get caught up in the delusion of other people's lives looking so beautiful and so perfect. And if you feel like your 2022 wasn't that, that's okay too. So just allowing yourself to kind of be in the fantasy, see through the rose-colored glasses, but understand that you might not be seeing the whole picture, whether it comes to other people's past year or even your own, as you're looking through your own photos of 2022, making your own post, making your own year in review. Most of us only take pictures and videos of the good things, of the high moments, of the happy moments. So honoring those moments, honoring all the beautiful experiences you had, but also holding space if there's any part of you that comes up that's like, that doesn't feel totally accurate. It's okay. It doesn't need to be accurate today. We can dream, we can be a little creative and fantastical and overly romanticize things. Full permission to do that under this transit on New Year's Day. So excited for 2023, Rose says. We'll have both my Jupiter return conjunct my sun, that's right, in Aries, and your North Nodal return in Aries. You have so much Aries energy. I say that every time you tell me your placements, but let's effing go is like, that is probably your like mantra with all that Aries energy. I feel like 2023 is going to be a really great year for you, Rose. I'm excited for you. I'll try to have the rose tinted glasses on the look back. Yeah. Just allow yourself to romanticize a little bit. I see a lot of people also like maybe wanting to watch movies from their past or even watch old like home videos with Mercury retrograde, sextile, Neptune, getting like lost in the fantasy of the past and the nostalgia of the past too. Okay, let's talk about what's going on with the moon on Sunday. Here we go. It'll be the waxing gibbous moon in Taurus. Again, it's all about sensuality, our comfort zone. I think a lot of people will probably spend the day at home on New Year's Day, just chilling, wanting to be with people who feel comfortable, wanting to eat foods that feel good and nourishing, and kind of be in their safe space. Taurus energy craves that comfort. At 5 a.m. on New Year's Day, so 8 a.m. Eastern time, the moon forms a conjunction to the North Node and harmonizes with the sun. So remember how we talked about the sun harmonizing with the North Node in that trine on New Year's Eve? We'll still be feeling that energy on New Year's Day. And actually, take a look at this. This is our New Year's Day chart, the first chart we're looking at for 2023. How fun. Feel like I'm making everything like such an exciting thing with the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023, but we're leaning into it, okay? We're calling in the energy we want to receive for 2023. We're getting excited about it. Also, look what I just noticed. Jupiter will no longer be at 0 degrees as of New Year's Day. Let me see. Does it move tomorrow? Or did it already move? Oh, as of today, Jupiter is no longer at 0 degrees. Okay, well, that's nice. We can we can be a little less restless moving forward now. Okay, but going back to our New Year's Day chart, you can see the moon will be in Taurus over here, and it will meet up with the North Node and harmonize with the sun at the same time. This feels like getting excited about the future, right? Allowing ourselves to emotionally align with the path ahead. When the moon harmonizes with the sun, it brings this natural confidence. So I feel like we wake up on Sunday morning on New Year's Day feeling confident about the path ahead, feeling confident about the year ahead, and maybe even a little excited. I don't feel like this will be like a buzzy excitement because it's under the Taurus moon. It'll probably be more of like a chill excitement, a grounded confidence, but like kind of like we got this energy. We've got this. We know that we're going to succeed in the year ahead, and we're going to just take it one step at a time and move forward. Feels like the energy of moving forward. Aries is in my 11th house, taking you guys along with me. Community, yes. Amazing. That means the moon will be what? In your 12th house, probably on New Year's Eve. So closure, endings, release, and rebirth energy for you, Rose. Yes, so we wake up on Sunday, excited, grounded, confidence, moving forward. And then the last transit we'll experience on Sunday is a conjunction between the moon and Uranus. This happens at 2 p.m. on New Year's Day. That's Pacific time, so that would be 5 p.m. Eastern time. And a conjunction between the moon and Uranus, you can see it on the chart here. This is change. This is a shift in energy, disruption, transformation. It might even feel like the ground is moving beneath your feet as the moon in Taurus comes into this conjunction with Uranus. Excitement as well. It like a lot of the energy of the whole weekend is like reflecting on the past. Mercury did gestation retrograde after all, but also getting excited about the future, getting confident about the future, really like emotionally feeling into the future when the moon forms a conjunction to Uranus, the planet of innovation, of disruption, and of the future. So you might feel like it's nice that it's a grounded Taurus moon because it's not like this urgency to do anything. It's more about like planning and getting grounded and finding that stability and that innate confidence that comes with feeling secure and stable. And like, again, we got this, just one step at a time, walking our way into 2023. Hi, Corby. Of course, you're just on time. Divine timing. So yeah, there's a lot of transformative energy around this New Year's Eve, New Year's Day forecast. That's for sure. There's no way around that. And what's more transformative than a new year, right? But don't be surprised if the transformation feels a little more intense or even abrupt than you bargained for, or if intense emotions or changes happen that you weren't really expecting. That's okay too. Just trust that whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. The universe has your back. There's always a plan greater than we have figured out, right? And that's your New Year's forecast. I'm curious. Are we excited about it? Are we nervous about it? Let me know your thoughts now that we just went through the whole thing. And as you digest that, we'll come back to our affirmation of the day. I'm ready for a new beginning. Even if that sounds a little scary, aligning with the energy of new beginnings, aligning with the energy of rebirth. Part of rebirth is release. Death and rebirth are two sides of the same coin, right, my friends? So aligning with fresh opportunities, new beginnings, and knowing that anything that's falling away right now, anything that's being released is just making room for new energy. Of course, Nick, just got to roll with it and go with the flow. Yes. All right. I figured it would be cool. I'm not going to do a 3-card pull. Instead, I'm going to do a 2-card pull today. One for the end of 2022 and one for the beginning of 2023. Maybe the message that comes through will encapsulate all of your 2022 and 2023 of course, you'll have to decode and apply the message to your own life. But it just seems right to do 2 cards, one for this year and one for next year, which is only like, 36 hours away at this point. So crazy. Nick says, I'm feeling more excited about a new year. Got to let go of some of the old ways I have stuck to for years. That's okay. And you were talking about your 6th house, how this Venus-Pluto conjunction is happening in your 6th house, right, Nick? So that tells me that this could be a really powerful New Year's for you to release those old habits. The 6th house is all about our habits, the things we do every day, our routines, right? And so Venus-Pluto conjunction could really illuminate those habits and help you release them in a loving way. So I'm sending that energy your way, releasing what's no longer serving you to make room for energy that's going to lead you to the best and highest outcome. All right, let's go ahead and pull a card. We're going to take a collective deep breath, whether you're finding this video later or you're joining me live. Just give yourself the gift of the deepest breath you've taken all day. And as you exhale, send your energy into this deck of cards and ask the universe, what do I need to know about the year that's closing out and the year to come? All right, here we go. Breathing in and release. What do we need to know about 2022? The 3 of Pentacles, and about 2023, the Ace of Cups. All right. I always give the disclaimer that I'm not a tarot expert. We just rely on the guidebook. It's interesting, though, because both of these cards were pulled in reverse or in protection mode. So let's find out what message wants to come through. The 3 of Pentacles for 2022, it's all about relationships with other people. Interesting, because 2022 is a 6th year, and the big theme of this year was about relationships. So this guidebook says you could have had some difficulty working with others or learned how to listen better. Kind of this balancing act between you and a partner or in a relationship, egos clashing potentially. On the positive side of this card, it's all about teamwork, working together. So some sort of collaboration, cooperation, themes of partnership coming up for you in 2022. Here's the message. Working with others gifts us with the opportunity to learn from one another and to blend energies to create something totally new. Look for conscious collaborators as mentors, apprentices, or both. Co-creating together for the good of the whole is powerful magic, and this teamwork and community card calls you forth to add your unique essence to the bigger picture. Remember that your relationships are the base of your well-being. If you're having trouble with others, seek to align goals in order to cultivate peaceful unions. Mutually beneficial relationships place equal importance on each person's novel wisdom and way of being in the world, regardless of the relational hierarchy. Everyone has something uniquely enchanting to bring to the table. When life paths are entwined, strive to create harmonic states as you weave your way in and out of another's days. Welcome people into your heart and open doors of possibility that didn't exist before. I step into the vibration of conscious collaboration. So the 2022 theme was collaboration. I mean, you can literally go back to one of the first episodes of The Spiritual Journalist of 2022 when I talked with Felicia Bender, the practical numerologist, about 2022 being a 6th year, and the 6 in numerology is about partnerships and relationships. So I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of transformation in their relationships, not just romantic ones, all kinds of partnerships in 2022, making new partnerships. And that's the theme that's coming through in the tarot poll. But the 2023 is bringing the Ace of Cups into our card poll. And here's what the Ace of Cups says. I mean, Ace already feels like new beginning energy, and that's what it says. New connections, new relationships, friendships, seeds of love and hope newfound emotions, awakening of the heart, joy, positive outcomes, bliss, creativity. But on the shadow side, remember I did pull both of these in reverse. It says this is a time to nurture more self-love, making sure you aren't repressing emotions and opening up to the possibility of love. So remembering that new connections and inviting in new energies starts with self-love. And here's the extended reading for our 2023 card pull, the Ace of Cups. An extremely positive message of vibrant beginnings. The Ace of Cups marks the genesis of relationships, emotional connections, and deep feelings of love and friendship. Your emotions are powerful magic. Cultivate your ability to call on expansive, optimistic, and profoundly radiant feelings and consciously send your heart waves out into the world. They will become powerful beacons for awakening new adventures, romance, and the effusive joy that you are calling into your life. Your capacity for love is expanding, so check in and make sure you aren't repressing your ability to connect with others as a result of being overly protective. Mindfully extend the love you feel to your own heart as well. Forgive yourself for past mistakes and find a fountainhead for healing. With copious amounts of self-acceptance, get ready to expand. Exciting affinities are emerging, and it's time to open up and give yourself permission to deepen your kinship with the life around you. And the mantra for 2023 is, my heart is open and filled with love. What a beautiful card. Even the shadow definition of it or description of it was all about self-love and honoring our own emotions. So a powerful indicator of new beginnings. All we have to do is align our emotions with the energy we want to call in. Send out love to receive love. Send your self-acceptance to receive other people who love and accept themselves. Remember that the relationships we call in are just a mirror of ourselves. So, starting with you, starting with cultivating that self-love, that self-confidence, that self-worth, that loving self-talk is going to bring in more connections, as the Ace of Cups indicates, that align with that vibration, that align with that frequency. The 2022 card resonates with me so much. Rose says, had to collaborate to get my toddler to his first birthday. It truly takes a village to raise a kid. Yeah, learning how to work with other people, even challenges that arise when we work with other people. Because, of course, we're not all the same. Of course, we don't always see eye to eye on things. And there's a lot to learn from seeing other people's perspectives and navigating the challenges that come with relationships. But it feels like with the year ending on a Venus-Pluto conjunction, both of these cards certainly had themes of relationships coming in. The 2022 card all about what we learned in relationships, and the 2023 card feeling like new beginnings and calling in more emotionally aligned relationships as we do that loving work for ourselves. So I love this. What a powerful card to pull for the new year. I love that we pulled an ace. All right, everybody. That is going to do it for this episode, this final 2022 episode of Transits Today. I am so grateful for each and every one of you that I have connected with through this live stream in 2022. I love how relationships have been the focus of a lot of what we've talked about today. And I just want you all to know that the relationships we've cultivated, even just through the screen, through this online community, means so much to me. And I am so proud of each and every one of you for showing up for yourselves, for doing the work, for doing this self-reflection, and also for the community that we're creating together, for being there for each other. If you're new here, welcome. We love you already. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you can keep getting notifications about these live streams and help support the channel. It's really important to me to keep these videos coming to you for free. I feel like this information should be accessible, so I appreciate all of you who like and support. And if you've been here a while, I'm so excited to see what 2023 has in store for all of us. You are all incredible humans, and I know there is so much potential, so much growth waiting for us on the other side of the new year. Thank you for being here, Rose. Eat all the delicious food for us and enjoy your fireworks. So glad that we've connected, Corby. We love having you here. And yes, I can't wait for us to continue to grow together. And yes, you still have time to sign up for transit tracking. It starts on the Aquarius new moon on January 21st. It's going to be a month-long journaling container. I just put the link in the chat, and I'll also pull it up here. You can just find it at thespiritualjournalist.com/shop. This is what it looks like. If you want to sign up, it'll be course material that I'll send you. If you're new to astrology and you want to learn how to read your chart, how to track the planets through your chart, you'll probably learn enough to help other people read their charts too. It's not just about understanding astrology, but being able to take all the information I'm giving you in these live streams and apply that information to your chart, getting a clearer understanding of your unique blueprint and how the transits are affecting you. So I know so many of you are already signed up, and I am seriously so freaking excited. We're going to do weekly Zoom calls as well. So as the new year gets going, I'll start sending out some emails, finding the best time for all of us to meet. But I'm most excited because a lot of you have been connecting with each other through the chat, but we'll all be able to talk to each other and just go over questions, reflections as we track the transits through our chart. You'll be getting daily journal prompts and a journal template that I use when I journal every day to reflect, to manifest, to call in the energy that I want to be in for the day. And yeah, like I said, I'll be teaching you how to read your chart and track the transits. So it's going to be a really fun time this month we're spending together, 4 weeks from new moon to new moon, a full lunar cycle that we'll be in together. And I'm super excited. It's going to be a great way to start the new year as well. It'll be right after the retrogrades end. So great time to get some clarity and to really start manifesting under the new moon in Aquarius. Oh, so grateful for you, Bree. Stay safe. Can't wait to have you in transit tracking. And I'm excited to see you next week at Goddess Night Out too. All right, everybody. That's enough talking from me. Love you all. Have a beautiful, safe New Year's. I'm so excited for all that's to come in 2023. And I will see you in the new year. I'll see you in 2023. But until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.